Hey, a lot of companies waste an enormous amount of money on marketing. And the design's good, photos are great, but your website just looks bad or looks good on your phone. But it's not getting any customers. Why? Because you don't have the words that make people buy. But now you can fix that with SageTree. SageTree can help you find the words that make it easy for your customers to understand what you do and how to buy from you. Stop wasting money today and schedule a call. Getting started is easy. Just visit sagetree.com and click on the Schedule an Appointment button. That's sagetree.com and click on the Schedule an Appointment button.
So last week was a big week in San Diego politics. I don't know if you heard.
Wait, what happened?
Yeah, really.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk about it. I really wanted to make a few points and spell this out. So Nathan Fletcher, Supervisor Nathan Fletcher, he actually started out as Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher. In fact, he was actually a long time ago, he was the executive director of the San Diego County Republican Party. And then he got into the assembly. He wanted to run for, as a Republican, and he wanted to run for mayor against Filner, back when Filner and Carl DeMaio and Bonnie DeManis all ran for San Diego mayor. And the Republicans endorsed Carl DeMaio, rightfully so. Carl's fantastic, and he had been working so hard. And Nathan threw a fit, left the Republican Party, became a Democrat, left his Republican wife, found a Democrat wife, and here we are today. So he ran for and won as county supervisor, took over the county board, and has been up on his high horse ever since. So won re-election handily. And what happened was last week, Wednesday, he tweeted out and said, hey, I'm not running for state senate anymore, because he was going to run to be a state senator. Because I want to deal with issues, personal issues, having to do with PTSD when he was in the Marine Corps, having to do with alcoholism, having to do with unresolved issues from when he was growing up. Now, I got to tell you, so many people said, oh, my gosh, politics aside, we're so sorry.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah. Well, and, and sincere. And that really does truly show how compassionate people are. And I think that's wonderful. However, there was a small group of people, including myself, that didn't believe a word of it. Immediately, okay, something is huge is about to come out.
Something's amiss.
And he's getting out in front of it. There is no way that he's going to drop out of this race. He would have just walked into the state senate. He wouldn't have had to work at all. Mm-hmm. There's not a single competitor, Democrat or Republican, that was going to keep him out of the state senate. And for him to suddenly decide to deal with issues, it's not what happened. And sure enough, and I thought, well, this is going to take who knows how long, for whatever shoe to fall. But that was a big thing for him to do that, because he's such an egomaniac. Mm-hmm. He has so many sociopathic traits that for him to walk away from being a state senator
is crazy.
Well, like I said, I knew something was up.
So
Sure enough,
Sherlock,
Sure
did
enough.
you find anything?
Well, I didn't, but what happened was they reported.
It was KUSI.
I don't know if it was the next day. I think it was the next day. It already all came out. And what happened is he's being accused and being sued in civil court by a former employee of the mass transit system. Mm-hmm. Of course, he was the chair of this board of sexual harassment and being fired. And sexual assault. I got to tell you, this isn't a story, and one of the points I really want to make, this isn't a story about a politician cheating on their spouse. Mm-hmm. That's not what this story is about. If that's all it was, it wouldn't even be a story.
No, wouldn't even be talking about it.
In fact, it's kind of been this horribly kept secret that the two of them have been. They have some kind of arrangement, apparently. There have been whispers of them, cheating before. There have been credible, sources that have said that he's cheated before. And it's just not even – I can't even tell you. It's just not even a thing anymore. I mean, it's almost expected that, half these or three-quarters of these elected officials Hell, you don't even have to be an elected official. Cheating these days is so common. It's not a story about cheating on your spouse. Mm-hmm. It's a story about an elected official, Nathan Fletcher, abusing his position, not just with having relations with a
intern, wasn't it?
She'd done an intern. She was an employee, someone underneath him. No pun intended. But it's the sexual assault part and the fact that she got fired. That's the abuse of power right there.
I know some classes she can take.
Yeah, really. So
you're right. He's getting ahead of it.
He's getting way ahead of it. And then there's a second accuser. She was 9. Well, she's older now, but apparently she interned for Nathan's 501c3. They went on an out-of-town trip, according to this the accuser. And according to the accuser, he was, propositioning and doing all kinds of inappropriate stuff. But this is now going to civil court. And I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to criminal court. And that forced him to announce that he's actually stepping down from the county board. He says he's in rehab, but he keeps tweeting. And I don't know, there's no rehab out there that allows people to access social media. Yeah. He's such an egomaniac. He's such a liar. I got to tell you, it's really been interesting. I've heard from people I haven't talked to in years who were really involved in the Republican Party years ago who are just, elated that he's finally getting his comeuppance. Mm-hmm. And the fact that his wife, Lorena Gonzalez, who was so critical of others, mm-hmm. who is so vocal about being a feminist, mm-hmm. Who's basically saying, hey, the accuser is a liar. And I thought we were supposed to believe women.
You're supposed to believe us, Mike.
I know, right? Wasn't it the Me Too movement a few years ago?
That was it.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
She was a big part of that, and believe all women. Okay, well, why aren't we believing this one exactly?
Because it gets the narrative. That's why.
Absolutely ridiculous, completely and totally believable. It's not unbelievable in any way if you've spent any amount of time with Nathan.
And it's all going to come out.
It's all coming out.
It's sure. All. I mean, you could get ahead of it all you want, but it's still going to smack you in the face.
And the idea that now, my understanding from credible sources and people around him is that after his time in the Marine Corps, he did have some issues that were probably looked a lot like PTSD, and he definitely had issues with alcohol. Mm-hmm. And that's about as much as I know. Right? I can't diagnose. I don't know.
Right.
But nobody who knows him, nobody who would look at this thing and really look at the facts and look at the accusations and look at the behavior, nobody would
fall for this one.
Well, nobody would say, well, gee, the only reason he's doing these things is because of the PTSD and because of the alcoholism. He is clearly and horrifically hiding mm-hmm. behind legitimate struggles that people have. I mean, to basically say, hey, you know what? My bad behavior, it's PTSD, so, you can't criticize me. It's, I get to deal with it. I get a pass.
Take ownership of it, man.
Exactly. I mean, this is, akin to stolen valor. It's mm-hmm. a slap in the face to the veteran community. It's a slap in the face to anybody that's dealt with any kind of PTSD.
It's not an excuse.
It's nowhere near an excuse. And for him to hide behind it and pretend that this is valid and pretend that, it makes it any different is horrific.
It's because he's a public figure. That's why.
They're separate set of rules, right? Because he's
doesn't
an
apply to
official.
him.
Nope.
At least that's what he thinks.
One of the things we're going to do this week, because we don't think that people should be allowed to live by, there should be separate sets of rules. Even though, we're heavily supporters of the CCWs, that was our one of our big victories in mm-hmm. San Diego. Mm-hmm. And we're completely against the idea of gun violence restraining orders. The reality is someone who is accused of the crimes, someone that's involved in the situation that he's involved in, someone who's made the admissions that he has, two things would happen. They'd lose their CCW, and a gun violence restraining order would be exercised against them, right? If you are Dave already sees where I'm going.
I know where you're
see
going
where
with
you're
this.
going to.
So he said, hey, look, I'm mentally unstable. I'm so mentally unstable
I'm stepping down.
that I have to step down from a race that I would have walked right into, right? This state Senate race. So he's coming out and saying, hey, I'm mentally unstable. I have to go to rehab. I have to, get counseling and therapy, number one. Number two, he's stepping down from his job because he's being accused of not just cheating on his wife. That's not what the accusation is. The accusation is sexual assault is the accusation. Somebody in those conditions, could they get and keep a CCW?
No.
Absolutely
But
not.
who is going to pull the trigger?
Well, wait. That's the question that we're going to publicly ask.
Yes.
And if somebody did have those types of accusations against them, would Mara Elliott file a gun violence restraining order against that person? Now, I know he has a CCW, and of course, he is absolutely a firearm. He owns a firearm. So if whether or not we agree or disagree with gun violence restraining orders, he's someone that's been vocal about, number one, restricting the rights of CCW holders, and number two, implementing and expanding gun violence restraining orders. Fine, you have to live by the rules that you expect others to live by.
But would just being the devil's advocate, would you not have to be prosecuted for those claims?
No, you do not have to. No, if it's an accusation. In fact, we just heard at our monthly meeting last month an attorney named Gary Gibson, who's awesome, great guy, defense attorney. He defended somebody who brandished. They were being attacked and brandished. Didn't even point the gun, just brandished. And they were prosecuted, won the case, lost the CCW though during the prosecution. Lost the CCW. We're actually going to do some things to help him get it back. But so no is the answer to your question, though.
Okay.
You don't have to be convicted.
Gotcha.
And that's exactly the reason for a gun violence restraining order. At least that's what they tell me.
So you're the first person to thought of this?
I'm always the first person.
I know. You're right on top
But
of it.
I got to tell you, but listen, I wanted to come on and explain it. First, I wanted to tell the actual story about Nathan and what a horrible person he is. But then I also wanted to come on and say, hey, look, we don't agree with these gun violence restraining orders. We think people should have CCWs, but what trumps all that is the fact that he needs to live by the rules he thinks everyone else. Yeah. No, we're not playing favorites here.
There you go.
So until the law is changed, people like Nathan Fletcher have to live by it.
I agree, 100%.
He made his bed.
Now sleep on it.
Lie in it.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.